Hi, all of you. This is Gil. Today it's January, I think 13th, 2025, and I guess the wind is at it again over here. So, yeah, about the fires that's going on, I think the fires are still going on, and the Palisades are eating or something. Well, I put the fence back on, I put it back up. So, but I don't know if the wind is going to blow it down again. It took me like 20 minutes to put it up. I just put some reinforcement, including like the piece of wood right there, this to make it hold it in place, and I did all that. Well, on this right here, this one, I'm gonna need to. The neighbor is being kind of lazy, or I would believe that this is their fence, but I paid for this. I won't even bother. So anyway, I think they're Karens apparently. I mean, because they got on me for the dog going into their backyard after the fence was blown down and stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna need to dedicate a whole day to fix this because the wind actually blew this off, and this was like the strongest post too. It was a very strong post, and this time the wind blew it down. This time that post was always stood there, always stayed standing, but this wind was really bad. It was like the worst we had like a couple days ago. So yeah, so we put up this fencing here. You put it up. So but like it already wants to blow it down. But so yeah. You hear that whirring sound all the time. You hear that here all the time. Hear that? We hear that all the time. All the time, man. I do know that I know that there's fires still going on. I'm not sure what part of LA or if it's another place. I don't know. I think some other fire started somewhere, but I think now what's my thoughts about all this? Well, like I can imagine, like it's gotta suck, like to lose your house. I know it's by the thousands of people that lost their houses. I know that in the Palisades. I think I heard about 5,000 people losing their houses on the wind, on the fires. So I'm just gonna go inside. It's cold out here. Well, before I go inside, I want to show you the roofing of the house. Well, I just can't see it really well because it's kind of. Well, I know the roofing on the patio is completely gone, completely demolished. Like the shingles on the patio. God damn his hair. Bird, man. Well, anyways, like my thoughts about the how the burned down houses or the fires. My thoughts about that. It's like that's gotta suck, man. It's like, and it's funny because to see that, like a lot of people lost their houses. The crazy thing about it is like in the Palisades, the Pacific Palisades, like shit. There's like a literally like a mile square of houses worth, like there's like a neighborhood like where every single house is burned down. Every one. My God, man, it's like that's the craziest thing I've seen. I mean, and what's crazier about it is that every one of those houses are more than $1 million each. They're all multi-million-dollar houses too. Well, I mean, it's just expensive because of where it's at. I mean, near the beach, and then imagine the houses at the beach side too, beachfront. And I think I saw that there was one that was still standing out of all the ones. Man, lucky dudes, man. It's like I know I saw that there's a couple houses still standing but what all the rest of them were. Wow, that got to be talking about lucky dudes, man. Lucky dudes that their house is still standing, yeah. Can you imagine? But to talk about like how what I think about that, my God, I mean, it's like that's incredible, man. I mean, it's like I can imagine how that feels to lose your house, and then like a lot of stories about people who had lived there since the 70s or they grew up there. I heard a lot of stories about that. I mean, people grew up in there or they were born there and then they lived in the house since they're kids and they're like 50 years old now. I mean, and then, well, I mean, it's not so much the house that they lost that's really bad. It's like the stuff that's in it because a lot of the stuff that's in their house, a lot of people had stories about like the sobbing, like feeling sad and stuff because they lost all their sentimental value, things of sentimental value. I mean, that's the big thing right there. I mean, losing the sentimental value stuff because I heard a lot of stories about like that they lost, like they lost stuff that was passed on to them from their grandmas that just died recently or something, grandpas or or even parents, they left behind, say, their blankets or pictures or blankets that they had for 50 years, things like that. I mean, sentimental things, that's gotta suck, because what sucks too is like the fact that a lot of people didn't even get a chance to get anything out of their house. I mean, imagine how that feels, like imagine me, like imagine how I would feel like that. I mean, I don't know how I would be able to take it, like, I mean, if I would imagine, like coming home or going to my job, right? And then suddenly, without even knowing that it's gonna happen, a fire breaks out and everybody's required to evacuate. And I was at my job and stuff. A lot of people had that happening to them. A lot of people had that happening. Like they didn't even get a chance to get anything out of their house. Like not even their important papers or their pets. Their dogs or cats. Imagine that. Some people didn't even get a chance to do that because that they had no clue that it was gonna happen. We don't know. We don't know when anything like that's gonna happen. So they could have been on a little visiting their family or something somewhere else, and the fire broke out right when they were gone. And say, hey, you just never know. I mean, it's like that's the thing. Imagine how that feels. Imagine how that would have felt. And I'm like, not even getting a chance to get anything, and all they walked out with is their clothes on their back. Say, that's gotta suck, man. And then to add more of the crazy stories is the fact that, I know like there's a lot of people, like I saw that there was one person who lost their car collection, like I know that there was one person who had like maybe like 10 or 20 classic cars in their collection, like the Rolls Royce. I don't know what they had. I know, like, there was one person who lost their whole entire car collection, like their old car collection and stuff. Like like some 1940s or something, like, and they probably were all fixed up and stuff, It's like, yeah, well, people lost that, and then of course, I mean, I heard a lot of things about, that's gotta suck, like, I mean, what do I think about that? I mean, when I think about that, they lost all their stuff, like that, well, especially sentimental, and then I can imagine, like, what is it like? I mean, what happens next? Like, if they come home and only to realize that their whole house was burned down, like where do they go? I mean, I would imagine that some of them go to their families, but some people just don't have a place to go to. I mean, some people don't have a place to go to. And then I know that, I mean, but I think I've heard about like at least 5,000 houses were burned down. That's what I heard. You know, five houses burned down. I know it's like probably more than 10,000 structures or something. I think that includes cars and so I wonder how many cars were destroyed. You know, and wouldn't that bring up the market on the car sales? You know, would that bring that up? Would that spike up? Would that give me a chance to sell my edge for more money than what I was originally at? Well, now I'm just being funny on that one. So imagine all the encampments is totally full. You know, that's gotta suck for some people who only escaped their house with just their clothes on their back and maybe their car or something that they had. But the rest of their cars are probably burned down or something. But and then the crazy thing too is the fact that we had a lot of celebrities apparently who lost their yeah, a lot of celebrities, including Paris Hilton. Can you imagine that? You know, like how do they feel about losing their house? How do they feel? I mean, the way I take it is like. I mean, they don't have anything to worry about because they have the money to buy new and no problem, or they'll just move into one of their other houses. That's just my take. That's the way that's how I look at it. I mean, Paris Hilton. I wonder how many houses she owns. I mean, I think a lot of these celebrities are probably going to own more than one house, you know. So I'm guessing, but if they only owned that house, where would they be going? Well, they would have the money to do rent an expensive motel and stuff. Yeah, I mean, so that for them there would be no worry. But for someone like me, where would we go? Now, let's say if it was us who lost our house in a fire, where would we go? I mean, I honestly wouldn't even know. I really honestly don't know what we would do. I mean, because we really don't have any family. You know, maybe Hector. I mean, maybe Heckler would let us live in the house for a little bit, but it's only for a little bit that we could be there for. I mean, we really don't have a family that we could go to. I mean, maybe San Diego or something, but we wouldn't have a place. I mean, I would think for us, we probably would just end up just sleeping in our car or something. Like, what would we do? I mean, what would we do if we had a situation like that? Well, that's me, but I can imagine what it's like for other families. You know, you hear that wind all the time, man. So like so for people who lost their stuff and like imagine, I always think about it on me. I mean, like how would I feel if all the stuff in the garage would be completely gone? Well, I mean, you know what? Honestly, how I feel is like I would feel. I mean, it's like what am I gonna do? Yeah, I mean, that I would be really feeling badly. I mean, I would feel distraught about it. I mean, about having lost all this stuff. Like, I mean, that would really it would really get to me after a while. I mean, well, it would really get to me, but initially it would not harm me in a way in those sentimental thing. It would not do anything initially, but I think over time, I'm gonna think about like I'm gonna remember that I had this specific thing and that tote or that specific thing and that tote that I really really valued, that kind of thing. Shit. Well, it would get to me, but I would imagine that it's getting to some people. But initially, well, for the most part, I probably would say, well, I mean, it was not me who it's not. I did not lose all the stuff because of doing something stupid. So as long as it was not me who caused to myself to lose everything, then I would be a bit more okay. I mean, it's like if lost everything, the car and like all my vintage item. If I lost all this stuff in the fire, and if it was from a wildfire, then well, I would say, I mean, I would be a bit more okay with that compared to if I lost all this stuff because I did something stupid. like whatever. If I had done something dumb that caused a house to get burned, I would get mad at myself. I would get real mad at myself. But if I was gonna lose all this stuff through a wildfire or some other natural cause like a storm or hurricane or whatever, then I mean I would say I would be okay with it because God is the one that did that. I mean, it's not me. I'm not the one. As long as it's not me who caused it, I would be okay with losing all the stuff through a fire or something, you know. But on speaking of which, you know, that's why I don't want to be too much into material stuff. I really am not. I mean, I'm not. I mean, for me, like all these material things that I have, I mean, it's like I have them just because I have them. I mean, it's like I'm not really like so into my stuff. I mean, like, of course I am into my stuff, but it's like I'm not gonna be killing myself being so into my stuff, you know. Like, and I'm not gonna be getting all mad or and rage. It's just not me. I don't see myself being like that. If things like that. But I mean, initially, probably it would hurt me over time. But I mean, what can I say? I mean, and then another thing about my thoughts about the fires and everything that people had lost and the stuff that people lost, including cars, you know, like how I feel about that too is like the fact that every day now, it's in the last week, every day that I go in this car, this Edge, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm driving something, you know, like not like some unfortunate people who lost all of their car or just lost their car, and I'm just happy that I still have this Edge, for an example. You know, I'm happy every day now that I appreciate that I still have the car, like that it's not burned down and stuff. You know, that I'm not that it's like that's how I feel too. Like, and then it's like a feeling like being appreciated that I have a car, that I have this car, like while like someone else would wish that they had a car now because they got burned down. Well, it's imaginable that some people didn't have insurance on their car. Well, most people are not going to have insurance for their old cars. I mean, they're old. I don't have insurance on this car, but it just makes me happy that I still have this car, that I'm driving around in a car, even though it's worth only $3,500 or $4,000. You know, like, well, it's just like a feeling of like I'm just glad that I'm not in their shoes that lost their car, and I'm happy that I still have this car. That's an example. I mean, just happy, like that's my thoughts about it too. I mean, about that's just a part of my thoughts about, I mean, all the things that's going on, you know, or that I'm just happy that my car's not burned down, you know, like, I mean, but of course, you know, anything can change, you know, but I'm just talking about for today, I mean, for the day anyway, I mean, anything can happen, man, like, I mean, and then of course, like, the stuff I have, all the stuff I have, I'm happy I have it now, like, all my stuff, like the memory or the sentimental items at the moment. But of course, anything can change at any time, you know. But and then one other thing too. I mean, about these fires, I really feel like they're intentionally lit. They're intentionally lit up. You know, someone intentionally is doing this. Someone is doing this. I don't think these fires are naturally started. I really honestly don't think so. But I mean, but some people say that they are. But I mean, because of the dry vegetation, or maybe downed, like when the wind. Well, I think it starts with the wind or something, like, and then it downs the power lines and it sparks a flame or something. I mean, I don't know, but these fires, I really feel like somebody's doing it, but it's hard to know though, really sometimes. So yeah, I mean. He's fired. I mean, I could tell you though, man, this Palisades fire is like the worst I've seen, that I have seen. well, I know there was a campfire that I heard that was probably one of the worst ever. But I mean, but I'm just glad that I'm never in a situation with fires. I mean, I'm never had a situation with natural disaster. But I mean, I wonder about earthquakes. I mean, because we get earthquakes here in California. I mean, the big one can come. Well, I mean, if we were going to lose this house through an earthquake, I mean, at least we still have all the stuff. It's not at least it's not like burned down unless the house burns down. But I mean, well, I mean, what can I say? I mean, if I was gonna lose everything in a fire, I mean, as long as I'm not the one who caused the fire, I would be okay. I mean, as long as I'm not the one who caused it, I would be good. So, all right. Well, I hope you liked this video. And today is January 13th, 2025. All right. So that was my thoughts about the fire and the situation. All right. I'll see you on the next video.